So this week we're going to look at supply chains. What are supply chains? Basically, we're talking about the flow of materials or goods and services from the point of origin to the end consumer. So when I go to Starbucks to buy my coffee, the point of origin would be the coffee farmer in Vietnam, Peru, who grows his coffee, sells that maybe to an agent. The agent then sells to Starbucks. They distribute to all the various shops. And I'm the end consumer drinking that particular coffee in my latte when I go in to order. Supply chain management is concerned with managing this flow effectively. And it's not just material goods, it could be information as well. So for instance, people working in a bank, if I apply for a mortgage to a bank, the bank might use a credit rating agency as a supplier. They might ask for a credit check on me and on my ability to repay a mortgage. So in this case, that would be the flow of information. Upstream is those who supply our organisation or department with the goods and services that we need. So our suppliers are upstream, and downstream is those that we supply to. In the case of if we were working in a cake factory, upstream would be the suppliers for our flour, our eggs, our butter, and such like. Downstream is who we supply to, so it could be the various shops, supermarkets, it might be cafes directly, large organisations. Okay, so upstream, supply to us, downstream, who we supply to. Why are supply chains important, you might ask? Well, effective management of the supply chain means that you're getting the right product service to the right customer at the right time. And that's really the crux of the matter. We want to get things right. It's the right product to the right customer at the right time. If the entire class ordered from Amazon, ordered various sizes of sweatshirts, different styles, different sizes, different colours. If Amazon don't get the logistics of those deliveries, packaging correct, then it may mean that a sweatshirt meant for me goes to somebody else and they don't really particularly enjoy wearing that nice pink glittery bright sweatshirt. So it's getting the right product to the right customer at the right time. If we all wanted our sweatshirts to wear to a party on Friday night, social isolation over, then we would want them by Friday. Okay, so it's the right time, right customer. Effective supply chains can help you minimize your costs and increase profits or maximize your profits. Just-in-time supply chains are those that provide you with the goods, the materials, the knowledge, the information that you need just in time to produce your good or sell it to the customer or make that decision. Dell computers were one of the first instigators of just-in-time supply chains. And when they set up their original factories, they set them up in the midst and got the suppliers to set up nearby in the same locale as them. That way, when I, as an end customer, went online, ordered my red Dell laptop with such and such size of processor, various different things, I placed that order via the internet, went straight into Dell's huge customer database, and what they did with that information is it was effectively broken down into all the component parts of that laptop, and each component part was then immediately ordered through the database with the supplier. So the suppliers had the same type of database managing the inventory of their products as Dell did. Those pieces arrived just in time for Dell to assemble my laptop and deliver it to me within a matter of days. Just in time. It means Dell they don't have to maintain storage of various component parts of a laptop. They reduce insurance that way because they don't have to pay in case stock goes obsolete or their insurance costs are reduced. But it also means that they are providing the right service, the right product to me at the right time as the customer. And that's how effective supply chains can help minimize your costs. You also need to think about what your competitive factors are in your organisation. Is your organisation competing on speed or quality or dependability, cost or flexibility? And you have to think about your suppliers. If we're competing on quality, if we're a 5-star fine dining restaurant, we're not going to go to a supplier who is necessarily low cost but poorer quality product. We're going to look, and it might cost a little bit more, it might take a little bit longer to arrive, but we can change our menus on a daily basis if we are competing on quality, and that's what we're known as. So you really need to consider your suppliers and how they fit in with your competitive factors in your organisation. There's various ways of rating suppliers as well. So you could say, well, speed is the most important to me, to my organisation. So you could give them a rating out of 10 for that. Dependability and cost might be second and third. You can give various ratings on that and then look across the board, add up all the ratings and decide which supplier is best for you. Other considerations for your supply chain are whether you go to single or multi-source suppliers. There's advantages and disadvantages in both, really. Single source suppliers, then you tend to have more long-lasting relationships with them. The suppliers can get involved. In the case of if we worked in a car producing factory, and maybe some of the suppliers of components might tell us that they're working on a particular new variety or new invention, new innovation for something, we could be involved in that and tell them what we really want, what our customers want. That supplier can then make sure that they innovate in the correct way. There's good communication, single source suppliers up and down the line, from upstream all the way to downstream. There's a good flow of information going back and forth, feeding into the single source suppliers so they know what they have to do. So that's one of the advantages of single source supplying. Disadvantages, you could be more vulnerable to disruption if there's failure in the supply chain. If we only have one supplier for a product or a component part, something happens, that factory goes on strike, burns down, such like, then we really could be in trouble if there's nobody to replace that supplier. So that's a possible disadvantage. With multi-source suppliers, again, there's advantages and disadvantages. In the case of most supermarkets, most supermarkets deal with multiple dairy farmers in supplying milk to put on the supermarket shelves. In that way, the supermarkets are able to drive the price down. They can just basically order, based on the order quantities, they can drive the price of the milk down. And the suppliers, because they know there's alternative suppliers out there who might be willing to meet that lower cost, have no option but to accept a reduced amount. However, in the case of Sainsbury's, I think it was in 2015, Sainsbury's started working with a few dairy farmers. There was about 55,000 cows involved in these different farms altogether. Sainsbury's wanted to take a longer term view of this, and what they did was they actually paid for various vets to go out round the farms and train the farmers for free in order to spot or identify possible ill health in the cows at an early stage, so the cows wouldn't be out of production, if you like, for any extended length of time. This saved Sainsbury's quite a lot of money. It saved the farmers money as well, but it increased the supply of milk. It reduced the amount of times that a cow was not able to supply milk, and it should pay off to Sainsbury's in the end. That's more of a long-term partnership agreement. Sainsbury's have almost invested in those farmers. Another thing that you have to consider for your supply chain is social responsibility. If you are competing on quality in particular, you will want to know that where you source your raw materials and goods from is done in an ethical way. We've all read many of the stories about some of the retailers who use child labour, or their suppliers use child labour. There's a link on Brightspace this week to an article about Samsung and how some of their Malaysian workers were forced to work 14-hour days, not provided with the pay that they were guaranteed and such like. So it can be up to your organisation. You need to monitor the supply chain as well. Make sure that from end to end, the entire supply chain fits in with the ethos of your organisation. If you're selling as a socially responsible organisation, then that's what you need to look at. So that's a very quick run through of supply chain for you this week. But if you have any questions, please go on discussion board, post them there. It's likely that you will not be the only person with that question. So if you post them on discussion board, we can all see and we can all feedback. Thank you.